I am happy to be okay. I'm happy to be in your midst. I'm happy to be in your midst. Because we have limited time available to us, I want us to take full advantage of it. So I will try as much as possible to go practical.
Yes,
And
I'm coming.
try to bring in all the practical experiences I have gained over the years into how we can leverage on some of those things that we will be sharing today in advancing our career. I will start with career development. What action plan do we need to have in place in advancing our career? I will start with by knowing yourself, knowing who you are. The first step is knowing who you are. That is the ability to identify, articulate, motivate your skills and your personality traits. As this has to do with how they affect your career plan. I remember that when we are in school, we have different areas where we thought we'll be working on. Some of us thought we'll be working in banks. Some of us thought we'll be working in telecommunication. We'll say we'll be accountants and what have you. But over the years, we've seen ourselves doing several things. Okay, now the next step is to explore options. What options are available to us? This has to do with the awareness of the opportunity available to you as an individual and your ability to research into these options. And the next one is after you weigh all your options, is to take a definite decision. This is being able to weigh on up all the personal options to make a sound decision. Now, the fourth aspect has to do with reflecting and taking action based on the decision options that you have available to you. Then this has to do with learning to have the awareness and tools that are necessary to cope with transactions. Now, I'm going to take all these options in depth, starting with knowing who you are as an individual. This has to do with your personality traits. This has to do with your attributes. This has to do with your values. This has to do with your interest. Because your interest, if you are doing a job that your interest is not in, it will be almost very, very difficult for you to be motivated. Because many of us are doing things that don't really appeal to our interests. Rather, we are just doing those things just to put food on the table. But rather, if we channel our career goal towards those areas that align with our personal interest, it makes the job far more easier. Then we also look at our strengths, look at our weaknesses, and identify the areas that are requiring further development. Because when you identify the areas that you have strong impact on, and you identify the areas that you need, those areas of your weaknesses, you are able to channel your developmental effort into those areas. Then you are now looking at your education. How does your education play a part in advancing your career? You are looking at your knowledge. You are looking at your ability. Then you are looking at the transferable skills. You remember in during the plenary, Yemi Fashewu alluded to the fact that we have to be value focused. People do not pay for what we know, but rather what we do is very key. Then we reflect on our life, our academics, our activities, involvement, and other life experiences. Who you are and what you have to offer. You must identify this. This has boils down to knowing who you are and what you have to offer as an individual. Then, when we look at the exploring options, which is the second aspect, we are looking at the experiences that you have gained over the years. We are in a group where we have between 3 to 5 years work experience individuals. Now, over these years, what experiences have you gained? What are your interests? No, some of these experiences is not actually on when we gain them by doing what we are doing or working in the place that we are working. Rather, it has to be with the club, the societies that we belong to, the volunteer work that we do, our community involvement, then exploring our strengths and developing work-related skills. We most at times before we can advance in our career, you must operate beyond your present capacity. If you are a candidate for promotion, you must be operating far, far beyond your present. Because over the years, we've been very, very careful not to promote people to what we call promoting to inefficiency. For the fact that an individual is operating optimally at their present level does not automatically qualify that individual to be a candidate for a higher position, because the candidate might not just be ready to assume higher responsibility. So you have to be extremely careful. Then you must research, because I have seen that some of us, I have been interacting with some of the individuals here. I've seen that we are not actually doing what we aspire to do. So the only way, because we might, I can see somebody, Omobola, the background, please mute your mic. Omobola, Omobola. All right. So we might be doing some things that does not appeal to us as individuals. So how do we get our skills back? How do we get back to our career plan, which we have outlined in while starting out? Is to attend professional fairs, talk shows like what we are having now, research occupational areas that appeal to you, and also network with people that are in your desired career path. By networking with them, by discussing with them, you are getting yourself acquainted with what they are doing. By knowing what they are doing, then you are preparing yourself to assume the roles. Then the other thing that we will have to do also is explore different work environments, because right now there is now the world has become a global village. What we do in Nigeria has far-reaching implications in other climes. What happens in other climes have far-reaching implications in Nigeria. After all, COVID-19 did not originate from Nigeria, but look at how it has disrupted how we do things in Nigeria. Same way it disrupts how things are done in other climes. Then in making a decision, we must use what we know, and explore the available options that are available to us. Understand how decisions are made. Then what we need to consider for now and what we need to consider in the future. We'll have to, because career advancement is a deliberate action. It's a deliberate action. It does not happen by accident. Making a decision between the options that are available to us leads to further learning about what we need to put right. So the other thing that we need to do is reflecting on the actions, or reflecting on our actions and exploring the opportunities that are available to us. Now, how will you use our career development learning in terms of the knowledge, in terms of the opportunity, awareness, in terms of decision-making skills? Because we must know that when we are starting out our career, the hard skills pace, but as we advance, we now move towards the area that has to do with soft skills. The soft skills, Ali Yemi Fasheun clearly elaborated on emotional intelligence, because when you are assuming leadership position, as much as the hard skill is important, the soft skill becomes far, far more important, because you need, if you don't possess those soft skills, you can put people that has the hard skill, put them around you. But the soft skill is your ability to be able to manage all these idiosyncrasies, the ability to be able to manage different diverse groups, your ability to organize, your ability to portray leadership ability, your ability to display a high level of emotional intelligence will come to play. Now, effective career management is about being proactively managing the learning that you have gained from all the processes that we have enumerated. Now, I will go to what we call career fast tracking. How do we fast track our career? Now, the first step that we need to take is to set a goal. Set a goal. How do we set a goal? By setting a goal, I know presently that we are in a position at the moment. You are looking ahead. Which role do you hope, which role are you aspiring to? What position do you hope to achieve in your line of profession? If, for example, I am an accountant, I aspire to become the chief accountant or the financial controller of a company. That will be your goal. Now, you now identify what are the positions in between, positions that are in between where I am at present and where I hope to be, which is the position of a chief accountant or the position of a financial controller. What are the roles in between? Now, in doing that, you have already set out your career plan. Now, in setting out your career plan, because you have identified all the steps that you need to take, all the positions that you need to assume while moving towards that your desired career plan. Now, this becomes your career plan and your timeline. Now, in setting your timeline, how do you achieve this? You achieve this in 3 career-defining actions. There are three career-defining actions that you need to take. The first one is move sideways into a similar job. Move sideways into a similar job. The second one is stay in your present employment because you are being promoted. Now, the third one is change job into a more senior position. I call these 3 defining actions hop. The first one, which is moving sideways into a similar job, you hop. The second one is you stay because you are promoted, which is skip. I call that skip. The third one is you change job into a more senior position, which I call jump. So we have 3 actions here: hop, skip, and jump. I hope I am making sense. Are you with me?
Okay.
I just want to be sure.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I just want to be
Yes,
sure
sir.
that
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
I just want to be sure that we are following.
Quick.
Now, to progress in your career. Hello?
Go ahead
Okay.
now.
Now, to progress in your career, you should be looking at doing either of hop, skip, and jump at least every 2 to 3 years. I repeat, to progress in your career, you should be looking at doing either hop, you skip, and you jump every 2 to 3 years. Remember, we have already set our career goal. The career goal is, as an accountant, I want to be the financial controller. In between where I am now, I have all the positions that I need to navigate through to achieve or to attain that position of a financial controller or a chief accountant in a company. We must tell ourselves the truth. Inaction leads to career stagnation. You must not get too comfy in your comfort zone. Thank God, during the plenary, somebody mentioned being able to perform more creditably in our comfort zone. You must not get too comfortable in your comfort zone. Like we said, you cannot be too comfortable in your bedroom because decisions are made at the boardroom. When you are too comfortable in your bedroom, it will be difficult for you to move to the boardroom where decisions are made. So the other of these 3 actions, which I mentioned, skip, hop, and jump, the jump is by far the most career progressing. The jump is by far the most career progressing, and it is the hardest. I will explain to you later why it is the hardest. Now, the skip. The question we ask ourselves, when is the right time to skip? When is the right time to skip? I mentioned skip. Skipping has to do with you are staying in your present employment because there are opportunities that are available to you in that company. One of the major challenges we face as HRO professionals is employee engagement. Many a times we tell ourselves, okay, how do we promote employee engagement? Employee engagement begins with candidate experience. When candidates are coming into your company, you must be able to answer 2 fundamental questions. And what are these fundamental questions? What are career progressing opportunities that are available in that company? Then the second one is, what are the learning opportunities that are available in terms of training, in terms of developmental activities, and all that? Those are the two fundamental questions that a prospective candidate asks during onboard or during the period of the period of engagement. Now, if you're able to answer that, then you have done creditably well. Now, saying this at the interview level is different from what is actually on ground. Then that takes me to that skipping area. I ask, when is the right time to skip? The right time to skip is when there are genuine opportunities. When there are genuine opportunities that are available in that company. I said skipping is when skipping has to do with promotion. That is, you are being promoted from one position into another in your present company. And before you can, that is, I mentioned earlier also that at least you must take all these three career defining action, at least 2 to 3 years. It is important. If the skipping opportunity are not available, then you move to the other options that are available. Now, how do you determine whether to skip? Number one, I mentioned, if you are sure that there are genuine opportunities for you in that organization. Then number two, you must be honest with yourself in terms of your area of competency. Your competency. Do you possess the competency to be able to operate at the level you are aspiring towards? They said, every man knows thyself. Now, when we talked about having genuine opportunities, there are some companies, particularly those multinationals, there are some positions that are, no matter how you are as a local, you can never attain those positions within that company. Particularly all these Asian owned companies. If you are a finance person, for example, in those companies, and you want to be the chief accountant or the financial controller, it might just be a wishful thinking, because it's not going to happen. For strategic reasons, those positions are only meant for the nationals, those people that owns the company. Let me take the Indian companies, for example. The Indian company, it will be almost, it's an impossibility for you to have a Nigerian as the chief accountant or the financial controller of that company. It is for strategic reasons. So now you have looked at the options that are available to you, and you have seen that it is not possible for you to achieve or attain that position which you aspire to. Then you must take other options. That is hop. You take the next option, which is hop. When it has come to 2-3 years and you are not moving forward, and there are no clear terms that there are opportunities available for you, then you have to either hop or you jump. Now, hopping, when we come to hopping, at some point, you might not be able to jump, because I said jumping is when you are moving, you are leaving your present organization to another company on a higher level. That is, if you are, for example, a marketing executive in your present company, and you are moving to another company as a marketing manager, that is, you are jumping. Now, there are times when it is not possible for you to jump at that point in time. Then what do? You now hop. Hopping means that you are leaving your present position to another company on the same position. For example, a finance manager. I am a finance manager in company A, and I am moving to another company as a finance manager. Why is this desirable? I said, in career development and advancement, you must be deliberate and you must be strategic. You must be deliberate and you must be strategic. sometimes hopping is very, very important. Why do I need to hop? Hopping means that you are moving from company A to another to company B on the same position. I gave an example, the finance manager. There are times that you need other exposure. The company that you are working on presently will not give you that desired exposure for you to be able to jump. So that means the experience, the skills that you presently have, you need to gain further experience to prepare you as a candidate, a good candidate, be able to jump. Now, with the combination of your present skill and the skill which you intend to gain in the other company, it now gives you a better insight to be able to advance your career. Now, let me give an example. You are working in a company where accounting application or accounting processes are done using Excel. Now, you are doing that, or you are working in a manufacturing concern where the processes are not automated, and you are now aspiring to be a financial controller or a financial manager in another company. If you have weighed on your options, you've seen that there are skills that you need to acquire in another company, but on the same position you are, then it becomes strategic for you, because the company you are going to will afford you that reputation. The company reputation will also translate and give you the credibility that you need within the industry. There are some companies, when they want to recruit, they only focus on some companies. No matter how good you are as a finance person, as a HRO person, as a quality control person, they will not consider you. Their recruitment focus is on specific industry. And you are working in a company that will not give you that leverage, then there is a need for you, and you have the opportunity to hop to that company. There is a need for you to move, because you are not just looking at the immediate, you are looking at a bigger picture. That bigger picture is what will prepare you for the eventual jump, which you will do later. Now, I mentioned that will not take us to that area, the jump area. You need to understand that there are factors that are preventing you from jumping. There are some factors that might prevent you from jumping. Some of these factors are internal, and there are also some external factors. The external factors are factors that are way, way outside your control. That is, within the industry you are working in, there are limited opportunities that are available. Mind you, let me be very, very emphatic with this. When you are moving or you are aspiring to move to another company, you will be fighting against what I will call giants. These giants are people that are already operating at that level, but are looking at skipping. You understand me? Maybe you are presently a finance manager in company A, then you have an opportunity of a job interview to be the financial controller of another company. You will be fighting against people that are already financial controller in another company, but maybe due to some factors or due to some personal reasons, they just want to leave that organization. So you will be pitching against a more experienced people. Now, those factors, you have identified the external factors that are within, that are outside your control, because there are limited jobs that are available within the industry you operate. Then the internal factor has to do with factors that are within your control. The first one is your CV. Maybe your CV is not getting the right attention from recruiters. Your CV. Either it's not properly worded, or the company you are coming from do not match their recruitment criteria. Your company does not qualify as that which they will consider. Then the second one is your interview skills are not just okay, are not just good enough. That will make you competitive at a higher level. In one of the companies I worked, there was this particular guy. He works in the finance department. He has been in that company for 12 years. No growth, nothing. So I called him out one day and I asked him, look, guy, you have been in this company and you are a chartered accountant. What is happening? He told me that he has never been invited for any interview. He has never been invited for any interview. The first thing I did was I looked through his CV, even if I was to invite people for interview, I will not invite him for interview because the CV was too watery for the position he's aspiring to. Mind you, this is a chartered accountant that has been chartered for over 10 years. The CV did not inspire confidence. Then, when I left the company, because I know that because he has not been exposed to interview sections, it will be difficult to push that CV to some of my friends. I just told them, look, even if he is not okay, even if he does not qualify, I just want to give him the opportunity to experience interview settings. So that, because if you've not been to interview before, it will be difficult for that confidence level will be low. So they invited him once. Within a month, he was invited to 2 different interviews. And because I was instrumental in getting him those interview invites, I also got the feedbacks from those recruiters, which I relayed back to him. What was I doing? This is a guy that has never been invited for interview. So I've exposed him to that interview setting. And that has, whether he performed or not, but it has given him some level of confidence. Now, your interview skills is also very, very important. Now, I mentioned, and I will continue to emphasize, that career development and goal and growth is a deliberate action, and we must be deliberate in our actions. How should we be deliberate in our actions and what we do? There are 2 areas. You must possess the right skills. You must possess the right competency to be able to operate at that level. If you do not have the right competency at that level or the level that you intend to operate in, there are options that are available to you. Thank God, we have a lot of online resources. There are people that you can approach that can guide you. I have a lot of environments. I think in order not to, I don't know if I'm sure that I will pause for now and take questions. Nena, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. That was quite an insightful session. Get questions from the house, please. Can we get questions from the house? I'm unmuting everyone. I'm unmuting everybody. Okay, Rachel, go ahead with your question, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Idoni. Thank you for the wonderful session. My question is, Relating to the examples you've given on internal factors, I work in a place where I feel that there is no clear-cut career path or growth. Going by the can either up, skip, jump. So, for example, and then you also made mention of the fact that for every 2 to 3 years, you should take either of the options, either we up, skip, or jump. So, I want to know for myself who aspires to either up or jump once I'm 2 years in that company, what's the best thing to do in order for me to be able to prepare myself to make that needed move at the right time?
Okay.
Get called to the next role, which is to jump there. How do I ensure that does not pass me by other opportunities and eliminate other factors? What are the steps I can put in place right now in order to make myself ready for such opportunities?
Okay. Thank you very much, Rachel. We during the course of plenary and when I started this conversation, I say that organizations pay for value. The question is, what value are you bringing on board? You might not possess the competency doing what you are doing. I mentioned that there are deliberate steps that you have to take. The deliberate steps is explore. There are several opportunities out there that you can explore. There are several learning opportunities that you can take advantage of. Several learning opportunities that you can take advantage of. Number one, I know you very well. Joining some professional association is also very, very key. Joining professional association. I belong to several networks of professionals where we share ideas. I belong to in a while we do physical meets. Hello. Okay.
Yes.
So once in a while we do physical meets. Because they said you cannot have all the experience that you need to operate. Then what you do, you tap into the experience of people that are in your cycle of influence, your network. Your network determines your net worth. So you must operate. If you have a desired goal that you intend to achieve, or you have a desired position you intend to attain, then your cycle of influence should be people that are already operating in that level. Interact with them, share from them what they do on a day-to-day basis. The truth of the matter is that when no company will leave out somebody that has something to offer and go for a mediocre or just because you can say it. You must show evidence that you have the competency to be able to operate at that level. So I hope I've been able to answer your question, Rachel.
Yes, sir, very well. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question here, and okay. The question reads, when your line manager sees your potentials and feels threatened, and then he goes ahead to make life miserable for you at work, how should you tackle that?
Well, I think this question was answered at the plenary, because I don't see why you have a line manager that will be threatened based on. So that means the line manager is you do not need that line manager. So we'll reflect back to YF presentation. He alluded to this. If you have a line manager that feels threatened by your potentials or your growth pattern, he says that you possess some things, then you don't have any reason. Then that should ginger you to take action. That is just simple truth. That line manager does not deserve to have you in your team because it's going to stifle your growth. You have three options that are available to you: hop, skip, or jump. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for doing justice to that question. There's a question on the chat from Grace, and it reads, what should a candidate do when a recruiter discriminates against his or her CV, citing different job roles not related to the job role he's being interviewed for?
Okay, I mentioned before, I mentioned before in the course of my presentation that there are several people out there that are doing what they never aspired to do. They have a clear, some people, even HRO, several people join HRO accidentally. Yesterday, I belonged to a forum where somebody was sharing her HRO story, and she said that she joined HRO by accident. She was actually a marketing executive in a company, but you just know how a recruiter got her CV. Maybe they saw some few things, and she got a missed call. She returned back the call, and she went back to he was interviewed. Then she became an HRO intern in that company, and that was where her journey into HRO started. Now, like I said, you might not have the experience at the moment. You might not have, it might be stated in your CV, this or that. That's why I said you have to be deliberate. If you are venturing from one role to another, you must do some volunteer job. You must volunteer yourself in that area to be able to have the experience. I mentioned that companies do not pay for what you know, but rather what you can do. You must be able to show that you can do it. And showing that you can do it means that you have to go the extra mile to acquire that competency to be able to do it. So go beyond your present level. Yeah, you might be doing a marketing job. Once in a while, you can stroll to HRO, volunteer to do some of their work for them. I'm not sure that if I have somebody that comes to me every now and then, showing the zeal, showing the determination to do one or two things in my department, and I will not oblige such an individual. I will start to take note of that individual, and I will start to expose that individual to several things that he or she needs, because I have been able to identify that that person has interest in HRO. I will, in the little way that I have, or little opportunity that are available to me, I will definitely assist that person. So go beyond your comfort zone. Reach out to people that are doing what you desire. You cannot just have a CV that has one role, for example, and you want to move it to another role. That volunteer job you have, you should be able to specify it in your CV. That though you are operating as whatever role that you are doing, that you've been able to acquire competency in this and this role that you are aspiring to. That is it. So your CV is your first point of contact with your recruiter. It is what opens the door for an interview invite. So it should be able to speak to that job. You don't expect me to just call somebody for a HRO role when everything I see in the CV is marketing. You should be able to highlight and speak to the job you are applying for. Thank you very much.
We have one last question, though we're rounding up, so join the main session. Okay, someone sent a question on the chat. Okay, that if you work in the government and you need to grow, but you cannot grow because of all the bureaucracies that happen in the government sector, what should the person do?
Wow. So it now depends on, because those are what I will consider factors that are external to you. It now left for you to now be deliberate. Do you wish to continue working in government, or you want to move into the private sector? That decision is a decision that you have to take as an individual. If I have seen people that have moved from government, from the public sector to the private sector, because they felt that the growth opportunity, that there's so much desire, or the type of satisfaction that they need. You know, government job can be so monotonous. That zeal, that stuff is not there. They will leave. They will leave. But many of us, or some people, or many people that are in government service, many of them, when you ask them, why are you in government service? Some of them will tell you, oh, that's job security. But the truth of the matter is that if you don't, there are some risks that you need to take for you to be able to advance in life. Then it's now left for you to identify your risk appetites. What risk am I, or what risk am I capable of taking? What amount of risk am I capable of taking? That defines your risk appetite. Everybody have different risk appetites. The higher the risk, the higher the stake. The lower the risk, the lower the stake. That is just how it is. So it's not for you to weigh your options. Do I need to move, or should I remain? If you are remaining, then you are being, you have factors that are external to you, which are not within your control, that are limiting your growth opportunities.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So we'll be